Hello YouTube friends. So today, since it's the beginning of December, I thought I'd do a little video about making a candy cane ornament. So we will be using 104 Effetra glass, and we won't be using any punties in this one. This is just a nice way of getting off the mandrel without too many added skills in there. So all you need is white, red, and some clear glass. So I'm starting with some 13mm Vitrifon clear glass that I had garaged in my kiln, so I don't have to worry about it shocking as much. And I'm just going to attach it to a standard size white. So I'm just heating up both sides evenly and connecting them together and rotating just so it stays nice and straight. And I'm going to flame cut about 1.5 inches or so of that Vitrifon. So this shouldn't shock because I garaged it in the kiln, but it will take a little bit longer because it's a pretty thick piece of glass. So I'm just rotating it, staying within the flame. And once I feel it start to become movable, I'm just going to start stretching it slowly until it gets a little bit thinner, and then do a bicycle motion to separate it. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up both ends. I have a habit of sharpening the pencil, so to speak. I find it easier when I introduce it to the flame next time I use it. So I put that 13mm back in the kiln, and now I'm going to start encasing this in white. So I'm heating up the white and I'm keeping it within the flame. I'm connecting it to that 13mm and just drawing downwards. And it's less that I'm drawing the white downwards, and it's more that I'm pushing the 13mm up. This way I can keep the white glass right in the hot, sweet spot of the torch. And I'm just doing a bunch of straight lines buttered right up next to each other. So the reason that I'm doing this, as opposed to having just a gather of pure white, is because I want this mass of glass to be more easy to manage. If I have a transparent color as the core, it's a lot stiffer and easier to manage. This also helps me to not go through as much white glass as quickly, and I think it's just good practice. It kind of gives you a good opportunity to practice your encasing. I'm just going to keep laying down stripes until I meet where I started. And be careful not to touch the encasing rod with the white handle too much, because you have the potential to crack it. So now I have it encased. I'm just going to heat it up a little bit just so I have a relatively smooth surface to work with. I'm even going to marver it a little bit. I just want a smooth surface because my next step is going to be to lay down some red stripes. So I'm preheating some red glass. You can do this with any color. Depends what you want your candy cane to look like. And you can do it in any pattern you want. I'm just going to keep it simple and just do 4 kind of thick lines on this. So I heated up the red, I connected it to the tip, and I'm just going to move the white mass upwards, just like how I was encasing it, just so I can keep the red glass rod in the hottest part of the flame. So 3rd stripe. And then a 1/4 turn, and the final one. So I'm going to melt in these stripes next, just enough so they're not going to pop off and thermal shock. But now I'm going to go ahead and add a transparent handle. So I'm just heating up both sections, fusing them together, not a punty or anything. And the reason I'm switching to a transparent color is, again, because I don't want the handles to be super soft and soupy. So that's why I choose something that's a little stiffer. I'm also flame cutting off the other white handle, and I'm going to do the same thing. Another fused handle of transparent glass. So once I have my second handle attached, my next step is going to be to heat it up evenly and do the twist. We're not going to be stretching this out into a candy cane shape yet. We're going to try and keep it about the same size. We just want to get that twist in first. So I'm heating it up evenly. I'm doing one side and then switching to do the other one because this is a fairly long piece of glass. You'll notice I'm holding it at a slight diagonal angle. This is a good way of maximizing the surface area of the mass in the flame. So you don't want too sharp of an angle or else the glass will start to slump and move, but just enough to get a little more surface area covered. So I'm just heating up one side for a few seconds and then heating up the other side for the same amount of seconds. I even count this just to make sure that I'm giving them each the same amount of heat. One more final pass through the heat, and now we're going to take it out of the flame and start to twist it. We're not stretching it yet, just twisting. And you don't need to do this in one quick motion. You can do it little by little. And you'll notice that I'm actually not twisting these two handles in opposite directions. It's more that I'm twisting one and I'm kind of lagging the other one behind. I feel like that gives me better control. So once I'm happy with the twist I have, next step is going to be to pull this to a length. So we're heating it up again, same as before, getting it nice and even, although you do already have a pretty good base of heat, so it won't take quite as much. But once it's nice and even, take it out of the flame and slowly start to stretch it. I'm just doing a little at a time. I'm rotating my handles back and forth so it doesn't slump and turn into a U shape. And as we lose the heat and it starts to stiffen up, I can just bring it right back into the flame. Just a little bit of heat's all you need, and take it out and start to stretch it again. So if there's a small section that maybe is a little bit fatter than the rest, you can just bring it back into the flame, just a little bit back and forth while still rotating, then come out and pull it apart slowly. So you can fiddle with this as much as you want. You're not really going to rush or anything. But once you are happy with it, and it's nice and straight, pretty even thickness, we can start removing one of the handles. So I'm going to heat up that clear where it connects to the red and white, and slowly start to pull it apart. I don't want to heat it up too much because I don't want it to ball up. So once I've separated that clear, I'm actually going to go back and clean up the end a little bit, because sometimes you'll be able to see the clear core a little bit. So I'm just heating up the tip, just a little at a time, pulling out a little bit with my tweezers, and I'm twisting at the same time that I'm pulling. That'll help give it a nicer termination. But once you're happy with it, we're going to start preheating 1/3 of this glass rod. This is where we're going to have the bend in our candy cane. So I'm starting by preheating all 360 degrees of it. Then I'm going to just pick one side and slowly go back and forth through the flame. It's almost like I'm playing the violin. You want to make sure you go slow enough so the heat has some time to penetrate. So out of frame here, I am actually pushing it with my tweezers a little bit, but you'll be able to see better in the next one. So I just got a little bit of a bend in it, and I just brought it right back into the flame to do the same motion. I'm just following the length of that glass rod in my torch. And I take it out of the flame, and I can gently push it down with my tweezers a little bit. You can see it got a little bit off center, so I just brought it down onto my graphite marker a little bit. You're not in a rush to do this because you can see that the bottom of this glass candy cane is already cooled off a little bit because you can see the red. So just focus on the crook first. But once you're happy with it, we're going to grab our hemostats, heat it up in the flame a little bit so it's not going to shock. And now we're going to carefully remove this clear glass. I'm actually using the edge of this flame because I'm trying to cautiously break it off, but you can see that it thermal shocked a little bit. But that is actually where I wanted it to break off, so it's fine. So we're just going to clean up that end a little bit in the torch, and then that's going to be it. We're going to pop it in the kiln. And this is how they turn out. So if you want to make this a little easier, you can start out a little bit smaller. If you don't have the thicker glass, you can just use any size clear that you want, or even some scrap clear glass. So have fun. Let me know if you have any questions or need help troubleshooting, and any other demos you want to see, please let me know. Enjoy the holiday season. Thanks, guys.